Yo, what's good with y'all? This is Ken Demetrios, and we are back after a little hiatus with another one from Next Gen Combat Sports TV. And this video, as y'all may know, this is the day of. We probably about 5 hours out from the main event with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, and we gonna get right into it. So I'm kind of glad I waited this long to make this video because it's been a lot of foolishness going on, and I do mean foolishness and antics, and granted, it's coming from the side of Ryan Garcia. Now, as you all may or may not know, I am a big Ryan Garcia fan. I have been, I stuck with him through thick and thin, through the whole mental health issues, all the malarkey about that. Now, granted, I don't blame him for that situation because at the end of the day, mental health is a serious issue, and if he had to do that to get it done over with, that's what he had to do. And, we went through the tank situation, and as we all know, he had the rehydration clause in the alleged. Sorry, I just put some oil on this, make me tear up. Yeah, so we had the rehydration issue, but that's all in the past. So I'm gonna just try to stick to Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. So for this fight, I know that everybody is almost like a it's almost like a given that Devin Haney is going to win, and considering the prior situations that they both had, I don't think that that's a terrible choice to make. But I've been consistent with my stance on Devin Haney and who he is as a fighter and the competition he's faced, and just overall what I think of him. Now, granted, if he come out here and put a beat down on Ryan Garcia and whoop his tail, that's just going to confirm to me that Devin Haney has answered some questions that I, as well as many others, may have had in terms of, him being a weight bully or him not fighting competition in their prime age, as he haven't. Most of his best wins, they're guys in their mid-30s, going towards the end of their career. And with Ryan Garcia, this is a prime Ryan Garcia, 25 years old, no weight drain, actually coming in the fight overweight, which is insane. But me and my grandpa talked about it, and I think that was a calculated decision. I think he did it on purpose, because if you really think about it, with both of them being as big as weight bullies as they are, for him to come in overweight, it's almost as if to say, like, okay, we both are big guys, but I'm just not going to take that down. Now, one thing that does really suck about that situation is, now at this point, if Ryan Garcia is able to beat Devin Haney, he won't be able to call himself a champion. But at the same time, I feel like that almost feeds into his view of how the boxing world is at this point, in terms of having so many belts and belts not mattering. Because Ryan Garcia, he said for years that, belts don't matter, belts not going to feed your family. And for him, he thinks that he's bigger than the belts. And there's just some people who are bigger than the belts. You might look at a Tank Davis, you might look at a not Canelo Alvarez, of course, but really in this day and age, it's really kind of just Tank Davis that has, the critical acclaim clout, per se, without really holding titles or defending titles. But, up under, behind Canelo, over here in North America, Tank, he's that guy. Even if he doesn't do the crazy pay-per-view numbers, which he did with Ryan Garcia, he still has that that fan base, and he can almost fight in any city across the country. LA, New York, he fought in Atlanta one time. I don't think he fighting in Texas, but I think him and Frank Martin are planning on fighting in Texas, and I think that fighter do really good numbers too at the gate in person, sell out crowds, all that type of stuff. So in terms of that, there's some people who can command that respect and attention without having, without having a legitimate belt. And if you think about it like this as well, let's say Ryan goes out there, flatline Devin Haney, beat his ass, and he does it in a way that makes it look like the 3 pounds that he came in overweight was effective. Like, let's say Ryan comes in, he's walking through Devin Haney's shots, he's bullying them, they might be tying up wrestling, but he might seem to be stronger than Devin Haney, because Devin Haney didn't really, to me, now my grandpa said that Devin Haney looked fine, because we all know that Devin Haney is usually drained on the scale. Not to the worst degree as we've seen, like that second Kambosos fight. That second Kambosos fight was the worst I've ever seen Devin Haney on the scales. And I don't think he looked as bad for his first fight with Regis Prograis, but he still looked kind of Like, you could still tell his face was sucked in. He wasn't really trying to talk to the media. He had his glasses on and stuff like that. So within these past few days at the press conference, at the workout, you know, he's the same thing, you know, got the shades on, got the black glasses on where you can't really see his eyes. And he was wearing the 2 shirts, you know, so it looked like he was, I ain't gonna say he was having a tough weight cut, but, you know, he's 25 years old, his body filling out, so it's gonna be hard for anybody to make the weight at that point. But, yeah, so if it came down to that, and then let's say Ryan Garcia, you know, the boxing world explodes if he wins, if he goes on to say, oh, well, you know, I can beat you, and I can really make the weight and beat you this time, that gives Devin Haney a chance for them to have a rematch and they have the belt on line, which, in my opinion, that would be an even bigger fight if that happened later on this year, depending on how it goes. But it's almost like Ryan did Devin a favor, because even if he does beat him, I think he gets to keep the belt, because I know in the situation with Keith Thurman and Tim Tszyu, they were trying to say that if he did fight and lost, the belt would become a vacant belt. So I don't know. But at this point, I'm assuming that Devin will keep the belt even if he loses. But in terms of the fight and stylistically how I think they match up, I think Devin Haney is a great boxer. I think he's a great pure boxer. You know, we get a lot of comparisons to him from like Floyd Mayweather or such, and I just don't see that. You know, I just don't see that. But he can prove me wrong. But, you know, we get the Floyd Mayweather comparisons. I think he's a great pure boxer. I think he has the ability to fight on the inside. I think he has pretty good hand speed. But I think his hand speed is like the first 2 shots. I think the more combination Devin Haney throws and he's sitting in the pocket, I think he's more susceptible. And also, when he explodes to make like his jab or his right, I feel like he kind of gets stuck in mud for a second before he can retreat if he's actually sitting down to throw an effective shot. So that's one thing I'm looking at in terms of him and Ryan Garcia. I just think that along his career, as I said earlier, I just think Devin Haney has been the beneficiary of, you know, fighting smaller guys, fighting guys with shorter arm reaches, and fighting guys that at the end of the day, if they get into a tussle and they can close the distance, if Devin Haney grabs them, and we all know that Devin Haney has his patented jab and grab. Granted, it works. You know, Floyd did it as well as many others. Even though Rolly just got a penalty taken, he got knocked out, granted, but part of his strategy was to grab Pitbull Cruz to keep him and stop his momentum. But, you know, Rolly got a point taken for that, but I'll leave that where it's at. But, yeah, so like I said, Devin Haney, he has the ability to grab his opponents, and in those moments, a lot of times, if he's in a compromised position, he gets kind of bailed out in a way by the ref, because the ref comes and breaks them up, resets them to the distance where Devin Haney likes to operate, and then, you know, whatever that guy just did to break that distance, he has to try and do it again, while Devin Haney does have that good footwork and that long, elite jab, probably one of the best jabs in the game. But with Ryan Garcia, I think that Ryan and Derrick James have had a pretty good training camp from what I've seen from Ryan Garcia. He's looking sharp. He's got his chin tucked in. He's looking like he's working on cutting off the ring. He looked like he's working on picking his spots, you know, sometimes moving forward and then sometimes getting back on his back foot, using his jab and maybe trying to, you know, set up a good shot to run Devin Haney into. And Devin Haney does have good footwork. His footwork is going to be the X factor, but I just feel as though in the later rounds, if he's moving a lot and still landing shots, I don't think Devin Haney can hurt Ryan Garcia on the back foot. I don't think that he can line him up with a good shot. Now, maybe he can run him into a shot, but we've seen to this point that Ryan has a pretty decent chin. Granted, he went down from the body shot from Tank, but allegedly he said that he had a prior rib injury that Tank hit in the same spot, and we know that Tank said out loud that he know that Ryan Garcia had an injury. Now, granted, of course, you know, that's the art of war, whatever, but that's still something to take into consideration. But Ryan Garcia ran into a flush overhand left from Tank Davis and got up within maybe a second or two. And then, you know, we saw him get dropped by Luke Campbell as well. So I think Ryan Garcia may have the punch resistance and chin to stand up to Devin Haney's best shots. But at the same time, Devin Haney is a very good, he's very quick. He has good punch placement. And if he can find the right shot, he might be able to hurt Ryan Garcia. Now, I don't think he can. I think Ryan Garcia will be able to maybe bait Devin in with his own jab and try to counterpunch his Devin after he throws his right, because that's just my opinion. Now, Devin Haney can maybe show something else, but like I said earlier, I just feel like once Devin Haney has to throw more than 2 to 3 punches at a time, that's when he becomes susceptible. And against someone, you know, that got probably as long as reach, you know, probably good, maybe better hand speed, I'm not sure. Definitely more explosive in my opinion. Even though Devin Haney, he has some explosiveness to him and some nuance in his, striking as well. But I just think that Ryan Garcia has the more elite hand speed. I think he probably has better punch placement. I think Ryan Garcia has the better timing. Now, Devin Haney definitely has better volume. He has better consistency. But in those quick moments, quick exchanges, I just think that Ryan might have the ability to come out on top. So all in all, I think that Ryan Garcia will stop Devin Haney. I think that he's going to stop him. I'm picking round 8, but I'm definitely thinking it's going to be in the second half of the fight. Now, I will say, Devin Haney been talking about, oh, come to the center of the ring, this, that, and the third. I'm going to meet you in the center. If Devin Haney gets outside of himself this fight, I can definitely see this fight going maybe 4 or 5 rounds. If it comes down to like a shootout, both men are landing, both men are striking, because I think this might be one of them fights. They're comparable with athleticism, they're comparable with reflexes, they're comparable with hand speed, they're comparable with punch placement. I think this might be one of those fights that it comes down to who can take whose punch better. And we both know that in this fight, well, we all know whether or not we believe Ryan Garcia is ready or not and is in the right mental space in his head. We all know that Ryan Garcia is the puncher in this fight. So with that being said, I picked Ryan Garcia to win by knockout round 8 or so. But like I said, I will say if Devin Haney is able to pull out the victory and do it in the dominant, unanimous decision fashion as he does, I'm not saying that he has to knock out Ryan Garcia to be elite. I don't know why everybody's saying like, oh, he's going to get the knockout, he's going to get the knockout. Now, if he does, good for him. And that even gives me credibility to say I might even lean more towards Devin Haney instead of in a fight with Tank, because if he can find those shots and punch on Ryan consistently to even get like a TKO, I think that really boosts his credibility in a potential matchup with Gervonta Tank Davis. Because Tank Davis, I mean, granted, he was boxing, he was setting Ryan up, but he was kind of on his bike, you know what I'm saying? And we know Ryan being overzealous as he was, he ended up getting caught and stopped. But yeah, like I say that to say this. I think that Devin Haney, if he is able to get the win, and depending on what fashion he does it in, and if he makes it very clean and cut, whitewash Ryan Garcia, I give Devin Haney all credit. I'll eat the crow or whatever and let him, have his moment. And I may lean towards him in a potential matchup with Gervonta Davis. But like I said, I am picking Ryan Garcia to win by knockout round 8. And yeah, and we'll just have to see the aftermath. And if Ryan Garcia loses, I'll be ready to eat a good big old bowl of crow soup. But I appreciate y'all watching. I know it's been a while, but, I've had some things going on, working longer hours, trying to pick up new skills. But I'm going to get back to this too. But I just had to pick this because, Ryan Garcia, that's my guy. That's one of my favorite boxers. Between him and the No Way, they're like my 2 favorite boxers right now. Maybe Jerron Boot Sentence is in the 3rd. But, yeah, so I appreciate y'all watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.